we muse and meditate, I want to focus on the scripture reading that we
Mhm.
have for today, and we'll pull those themes together
That's right.
as we
Mhm.
proceed. So, the passage of scripture is from John chapter 2, verses 1 to 11,
Mhm.
and I will read.
Mhm.
On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Now, both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding. They didn't storm the wedding, they were invited.
Yes.
And it's probably some relative, because the mother was there. And at this time, Jesus was not living with his mother. I think people need to recognize that he had moved out and he was
Mhm.
living elsewhere.
Mhm.
And when they ran out of wine, shame, shame, shame,
Oh my Lord.
the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." Quietly, quietly, I mean, he had
Yes.
disciples, but she spoke to Jesus. She didn't talk to the marriage and parish. And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." Mother said to servants, though she gave him one eye, because,
Mhm.
this is Middle Eastern, North African kind of people. So one eye she gave him. And then she turned nicely to the servants. "Whatever he says to you, do it." Now there were set 6 water pots of stone, according to the manner of purification of the Jews, containing 20 or 30 gallons apiece. Jesus said to them, "Fill the water pots with water." And they filled them up to the brim. They didn't half fill them. They didn't say, "Well, that good so." Be Trinity. They
Mhm.
filled it up to the brim. They went the extra mile.
Mhm.
And he said to them, "Draw some out now and take it to the master of the feast." Very authoritative, eh?
Yes. Mhm.
And they took it. When the master of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine and did not know, that may have been the father of the bride.
Mhm. Could very
Or
well
maybe
possibly be.
yeah, could be.
Mhm.
Or he hired an MC or something. But
Mhm. Mhm.
um, he said to them, "Draw some out." They took it. When the master of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine and did not know. He didn't
Mhm.
spend money for that kind of wine.
Mhm.
Did not know where it came from, but the servants who had drawn the water knew. The master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, "Every man at the beginning sets out the good wine. And when the guests are well drunk, then the inferior. You have kept the best wine for last." This beginning of signs Jesus did in, some people say Cana of Galilee,
Mhm.
and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him.
Yep.
Awesome. That
Mhm.
is our passage of scripture. And we're talking about workplace issues. We're talking about leadership issues. We're talking about communication issues in the marketplace. And we want to distill some of that from this passage. So, Alicia, what are some of your insights from this passage?
Well, Madonna, I particularly like verse 5 when his mother said to the servants, "Whatever he says to you, do it." And sometimes we sort of limit God, even in the workplace. There are certain challenges that will arise, certain situations that we must confront, we must deal with. And sometimes we are at wit's end what to do. And that's the time where we have to refocus our attention on God and go to Him and say, "Lord, what must I do in this situation? What are you telling me here? What principles do I need to apply? What do I need to shift? What do I need to adjust and readjust for this particular result?" And that's when God says, "Do this." And then we will be able to see the success that we want to see, right? And it's so critical because sometimes we do our own thing, or we veer off what God tells us to do in a particular situation because maybe it's unorthodox, maybe it's not, connecting with what we understand or how we see it, or how we view it, right? Because the situation in the Bible was pretty unorthodox. Get jars, fill it with water to the brim, right? And God said to do it, and they obeyed. And the result they wanted became a reality. And in the workplace, that's what we need to do. Go back to God, because everything pivots on who God is and what He says in His word. Whatever He says to you, do it.